So hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Reecee News. And first up we have today is some great news about Super Mario RPG, as it's selling pretty well in Japan, and I think this is just physical sales alone, so it's probably selling like even better when we kind of like think about digital sales as well. But it is number 2. Like, the first game I haven't even heard of. I think it's a Japanese exclusive. Apparently, it seems like something that's pretty popular in Japan. And it only sold, like, about 10,000 units more than Super Mario RPG. And considering they're both over 300,000 copies, I mean, that's, like, barely any difference between them. Super Mario RPG is nearly tied with it as being, like, the best-selling game this week in Japan. But, like I said, it sold over 300,000 copies so far in Japan, which is really good for a Mario RPG. And to put that into perspective, for the sales of all the other Mario RPGs in Japan, this is the second highest, behind the original Mario RPG. So this effectively outsold all of the other games, like including the games in the Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi series, in terms of like the launch, and everything, for like the launch day and everything. So yeah, like with Bowser's Inside Story, this almost has over 80,000 more copies sold at launch than that game with Bowser's Inside Story, and over double Thousand Year Door's launch, which is the 4th highest. So it definitely sold pretty well for the launch day and everything. And then also, like, comparing that to like some of the other games on there, it definitely has a huge lead over those, just being a little bit behind the original Super Mario RPG, which when in itself sold pretty well compared to some of the other Mario RPGs. So I would definitely say this is on track to being one of the best-selling, if not the best-selling, Mario RPG. I would say this actually could overtake Super Paper Mario or Bowser's Inside Story, or even the Mario plus Rabbids games, who knows? At least sparks of hope, possibly. But yeah, I could definitely see this selling pretty well, because it, like, at least in Japan, it seems like it's, like, the launch definitely did a lot better than most of the Paper Mario games. So I hope Nintendo sees this as a sign that there is a demand for the Mario RPGs again, and a lot of people want to play these games, so it's definitely great to see, and I really hope Nintendo kind of gets the message between this game and Thousand Year Door. So yeah, it's just really nice to see, because Super Mario RPG is a great game, like, and it's definitely up there as one of the best Mario RPGs in my opinion. Like, as someone who's played most of the Mario RPGs, I would say it's even on par with, like, the classic Paper Mario games, but I could go more on that in my review. But I'm just glad it's selling well, and I hope it continues to sell well. We don't really know about how well it's sold in the US, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's close to the top. But yeah, so moving on to the next bit of news here, we have some pretty good news about the Nintendo 64 service, since we're actually going to be getting some more rare games this time. Since Jet Force Gemini was announced in both, like, Japan and, like, Europe and North America. Japan first for some reason. I remember, like, back the day it was announced a couple days ago, it was weird. They announced the Japanese version of it first, and then, like, 30 minutes later, they did the North American and European announcement. They usually do them all at the same time, but they are doing something a little different this time, so I think that there could have been a reason for that. Because this time in Japan, they're actually starting to do an 18+ app for Nintendo 64. And I think that's probably why they separated that announcement. They're also adding GoldenEye 007 to it, which is probably one of the reasons why it took so long to come to the Japanese service. But it's pretty interesting. They're both Jet Force Gemini and GoldenEye 007 will be on this app. So I think that's pretty interesting. That actually opens up the possibility for a lot of other games to come to Nintendo Switch Online, like on both Nintendo 64 and other apps. But I feel like Nintendo 64 especially, since there's actually a fairly good chance we could be getting Conker's Bad Fur Day. And that's one game that quite a lot of people, myself included, have been wanting since, like, it is a fairly expensive game on the Nintendo 64. So it would be nice if that game was more accessible, and it would make sense that it would be locked behind an 18 plus app, or like an M-rated app, or something like that. Probably in North America they would have something like maybe 17 plus, since that's rated M for that, and but yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense, and it's pretty cool to see that there's actually a lot more potential for the games we could be getting. And then also, like, on top of that, like, aside from, like, the 18 plus app, the fact that we're getting Jet Force Gemini opens up the possibility for more Rare games in general, because for a while it seemed like we weren't really getting that much in terms of content from Rare games, but we could actually be getting a lot more now. I mean, not all of them are, like, owned by Microsoft. Like, I mean, obviously, like, Diddy Kong Racing does have, like, Banjo and Conquer, so maybe that kind of had a little bit of, licensing issues behind it. But, I mean, I guess now, there isn't that much of a problem, and Diddy Kong Racing is actually on the table, and I would say has a fairly good chance of coming to the service within the next year. But Banjo-Tooie is another one. And then from some games that are actually owned by Nintendo, like Donkey Kong 64, I think definitely has a chance. But yeah, and then there's also some other games that, like, haven't been announced at all, in a similar case to Jet Force Gemini, but that a lot of people have been wanting, like Smash 64. I think that would be great to see. And also Harvest Moon 64 as well, since that was announced in Japan, but not in North America yet, or Europe. So we could possibly be getting an announcement for that sometime soon. And yeah, I think it's definitely getting a little better for the Nintendo 64 library now that we have Mario Party 3, now that we're gonna be getting some more games from Rare. I think it definitely is improving. I mean, the drip feed is still pretty bad. Like, it's still really annoying to have to wait so long in between these games. But at least it seems that they aren't, like, fully going off of that September 2022 schedule that they set for the entirety of 2023. At least they're deviating from it a little bit. Like, I'm surprised we didn't get 1080 snowboarding. I mean, maybe last minute they'll pull it out, like, for November, because Jet Force Gemini is supposed to be December, but maybe they'll bundle it in with, the December games. Who knows? But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.